Hi guys, sorry, I was swiping an emoji out of your eyeball there. Your line of sight. Not an emoji. Wait, that's so crazy. A notification. What? Did I actually say that? Did I say I was swiping an emoji out of your eyeball? I don't even know what that could possibly mean. That's crazy. Okay, wait. This is also weird. First of all, visually, I kind of look like I've just reached enlightenment and I'm like made out of clay or something. I've got like light bouncing off my eyeball or something. Yeah, not even my glasses. That's crazy. There's what you guys want to see me be so insane. You guys want to see me be so insane. Like I try saying something and say it wrong. You guys are like, please be crazy, like, and then it just happens. Or I'll like stutter, and I feel like you guys are like, please be crazy, like, yes, finally, like, proof, like, oh. It's so funny. So the structure of that car was so confident. Like just the body style of it, I don't know. Why am I putting on chapstick again? So there was this like news article that I just saw on my phone where it's like, man is accused of cutting off his own genitals and using them to start a fire. That, what does that even mean? But like, what is accused? Like, I'm not like stupid, but like, what do you mean accused? You know what I'm saying? Like what do you mean accused? Like, what do you mean accused? Like, you don't know? Like, does he still have them? He's like the wrong person. Or does he not still have them because he cut them off? And did they light themselves on fire or did somebody help him? Like, I don't really know where they're getting accused from. Like, allegedly. Like, does he still have them or not? Like, is it the wrong person? Like, you don't really have, like, you know what I mean? You don't really even have to DNA test them because it probably didn't happen to a lot of people. It probably didn't happen to a lot of people. Like, knock on wood, it doesn't happen to you while you're sleeping. That you cut your own genitals off and use them to start a fire. Okay? Like, allegedly it was his own fault. We don't know. What? Like, did somebody do it? Was he, like, at gunpoint? Like, what do you mean? Accused. Like, it's really his fault. Like, I just think, like, the insanity on the planet is reaching an all-time high, and, like, where is it going next? You know what I mean? Well, I don't want to say that, because I accidentally just thought of, when I was saying that, like, what if a bunch of people did that, and then actually, like, made, like, a working clock out of only human genitals, and then I was like, just now, and I was like, okay, wait, just because the insanity on the planet is reaching an all-time high does not mean that it has to go higher to any specific degree. So like, don't do that just because I said that. That's not what I'm saying. This is going so many ways, but I really did think of that, and then I was like, well, that's going in the middle of a YouTube video, because why did I have that thought? You know, a working clock made out of what? Like, as long as it doesn't light itself on fire, because that happens what? Anyway. Yeah, now switching into any other topic of conversation is gonna be weird. I was just working on this song that I put out just now today called The Dark Ages. That was such a difficult song to write, and what I mean by that is I was sitting here and like, I don't know why it felt like it took me like 90 years to write it, but I was just sitting here writing it. Writing a section, singing it, writing the next section, singing it. Why did it feel like it took me 90 years? Like, I swear it was the slowest ever, like, song. I don't know. Like, why? There's new options for how I could feel about things after becoming a music artist. I talked too fast, I think, because that was like a rewind. Like, what? Like, I'm just sitting here like. So, there are a few things on my mind that don't seem like they go together. My twin flame, I had the hair will not stay where I put it. Oh my god. Well, oh, that looks way worse. There's a reason it wouldn't stay. Okay. So, completely unrelated to what I was talking about before, obviously. Well, I did have a subscriber from my channel say that they reached out to my twin flame to talk about the AI photos that I put in my YouTube thumbnails and also posted about. And so, yeah, it's not entirely a secret, which I expected to happen at some point in time. I expected him to find out in like 4 years, but like now he found out, so, which is a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It's fine. It's great. You know what I mean? Like, thank you for doing that. Like, you're so invested in like where everything's going with the story and with the channel and everything, and you know, you're so invested in whether or not he and I know each other and stuff, and that's like great, you know. And I'm only saying it's so funny to like sit here with the new information and be like, so now I look like a serial killer. Now I look like someone really crazy now, right? Because imagine someone makes AI photos of themselves and you. Your response is, we actually have never met. Like, imagine. No, but imagine if we hadn't met, actually. Like, we did, but imagine if we hadn't. And I commented on his TikTok too much. Got blocked. Got my comments deleted, got blocked. And then I made AI photos. Well, not in its particular order, but you know what I mean. Imagine how much trust you'd have to have. Like, imagine, like, all of my 1,000 subscribers unsubscribe, all the 3 of you never watch again. Right? Like, what would I be? What kind of person would I be? Like, that would be insanity. it wouldn't be like the height of insanity on the planet. But it would be like kind of weird, right? Kind of crazy. It would be kind of insane. Right? Also, don't mind if you see like I like drew on my tattoo and slept with it like that, and like it's like stained, like my arm's like stained, you know. So I just, yeah, Sharpie. It's kind of weird, right? I don't see that as weird. I don't really see the AI photos as weird. I don't really see the AI photos as weird. I think the AI photos were genius. But he did say he was disturbed by them. So imagine how weird I would be if I thought he wasn't disturbed by what he said he was disturbed by, right? Are we never gonna use the AI photos again? I don't know about this, guys. I don't know if we're not doing it. I don't know if we are. We probably are still gonna use them. But not to intentionally be disturbing. I was already pretty thoughtful about it, so I don't know why he's disturbed. But you guys might have to hold in there with no proof yet that I'm not completely insane for doing this. There might never be proof that I'm not completely insane for doing this. It's going to be weird. It's weird. It's already been weird. It's probably weird. It might be weird. Well, what kind of disturbing? Probably like pretty bad, right? There's kind of different levels of like, oh, I was disturbed by that. Exactly. I could just keep going and be confident that it was actually the best idea ever. But I think having so many people in on it, it is good, but like because obviously I'm happy you guys are invested in the channel and how things are going and everything. But it adds layers to the perspective of like how funny it is. And I think I would probably be talking about it a different way by now if I actually never met him. But you guys are gonna have to put on your psychic space suit. Your psychic space suit. And when you put on your psychic space suit, I think you guys are going to be able to determine whether or not it's true that I've never met him or not. Okay? I think the funny part is that sometimes something makes you like recognize all of the structure in your reality, and I feel like it made me like recognize how structured my reality is. I think it made me realize how normal I am, not how weird I am. Because if somebody could say, oh, that's disturbing, the one time you do something that's like 1% weird, you've never been at like 1,000% weird, you know what I mean? At the same time. It's like, that's how much further I would have to break out of my like shell. It's just structure in like reality, right? It's not like, oh, I'm like deliberately a certain way because of like just conditioning in a way in like life. How disturbed, right? Like, am I the one who is lacking explaining it? Yeah, I think some people would find it like so strange, so odd, so weird. And some people just think I'm an NPC. For no reason. Like, people kind of make that up about other people. Because I didn't want to talk to them personally. Because maybe I just didn't like them or something. Like, some people on the planet, right? I'm not mean. But I feel like if people try to, like, influence you in a way you know you don't want to be influenced before you even meet them, you kind of avoid them at that point in time, and then you like grow and you're like, oh, now I'm like, I would be like invincible to it anyways. but I feel like I could sense that about some people, so I was like, okay, swerve this one, and that one, and that one, and then they're like, oh, this is obvious at this point, right? I just thought you were gonna try to influence me in some way I didn't want to be influenced, and so it didn't work out at the time, you know? But it doesn't mean like, oh, permanently they're like not a fun person, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. That happens. What does it really remind me of to have, when I have like lots of people in on the fact that I have AI photos of my twin flame out there? It reminds me of a couple of things. It reminds me of like, you know how there's like the twin flame coaches who like teach people about it and like stuff like that? It reminds me of that because, okay, I'm being like personal about my story, but you want to know what else it reminds me of? I posted a video a while back and it was pretty weird, but it was about this one time I got anonymous texts. They were only anonymous because the person didn't tell me who they really were, but they did try to pretend to be somebody. This was, I don't know when, oh, maybe March, April, something like that. Okay. I got these like anonymous texts from somebody pretending to be somebody, but the person was somebody who I used to be friends with. And I said that there was this guy who that person knew about, who they were pretending to be, right? So there was this girl I was friends with. In like 2021 or something, and that's who I believe it was. So this girl I was friends with in like well, we actually met in high school. We were like my freshman year, we were friends. We were in the same like friend group. We were like eating lunch together every day. That's who I think it was, but I don't know. So like, because I never saw like physical proof of it, like, oh, it's that person, but like I was really sure it was that person. So I started to have all of these psychic downloads and intuition about the idea that somebody out there, before I got the text, okay, that somebody, specifically that actual girl, wanted to not only kill me, but stuff my dead body with a bunch of pads and tampons. So I was like, okay, that's like the most random, awkward, like terrible, like random thing to have a psychic download that this specific person wants that, and like there's not a motive and there's not a reason to believe it. So I was like, whatever, like I'm not like actively like friends with her right now, so I'm not worried about that. Like I don't think it's true, whatever. Like I mean I was like, okay, maybe it's true, like I'm not gonna go hang out with her right now, you know what I mean? I was like, we haven't talked in years, so I'm sure it's fine. So what? So yeah, I had like all these psychic downloads. I was like, okay, yeah, so I'm just gonna avoid her. Weird to think of you that way. I'm gonna avoid you. Then I get a text. It seems like anonymous at first. I don't remember exactly what it said. It was from Valentine, South Dakota or something. I didn't even know there was a place called Valentine. I wasn't thinking about it. Maybe this was like February, like it was like around, I don't know if it was around Valentine's Day or something. It was weird, right? Maybe not, but like I was like, oh, okay, yeah. So I don't know anybody from South Dakota. I don't think I've ever known that I met somebody who's from South Dakota. That's weird. There's a place called Valentine. Now, these are adding up to the reason why I believed it was that girl, not only because I had those ideas about her personally with the whole entire like explanation of her wanting to do that to me, but there's not a motive, there's not a reason to believe she personally would be like out to get me ever, right? So the reason why you have to trust yourself, she sends me this text. I'm like, oh, who is this, whatever, like I don't know anyone from South Dakota, I don't know who you are. She's like, you know who this is. I was like, I don't know who this is. She's like, no, you know who this is. I'm like, that doesn't make me know who this is. That doesn't make me know who this is. Whatever. So I think like at first she tries to make me guess. I'm like, I'm not gonna guess who this is. I would never tell you names of people to guess who it is. She said like something like, oh, it's the second half of the alphabet or something weird. I was like, there's a lot of names that are the second half of the alphabet, like, or I don't know if she said first or second, whatever. She said like a particular half of the alphabet, right? I think she said second half of the alphabet, or I don't really know. I said like, I don't remember the alphabet. Like, I was like, I don't know. I was like, okay, am I really supposed to find out it's that girl, or am I supposed to see like evidence of that? Am I supposed to see evidence of that? Yeah, so she pretends to be somebody. I don't know. I think when I told the story originally, I didn't want to, I kind of played down like who it was she was pretending to be. I was like, yeah, like it's just some guy, like I don't really know. Like I kind of played it down, or like I don't know what I said. I maybe like made up like exactly the description or whatever, because I didn't want to say it was like my actual twin flame she was pretending to be, but it was. So like the good part is that I wasn't gonna believe that he and I were on like speaking terms anyway, but also she doesn't know his like personality or like voice like over text, so she doesn't know what he would text like. She was texting like she was like an Indian man who needed like Google Translate to understand English, because she didn't want to give away that it was herself, but it was, and she was pretending to be him. So I had to like, also though he doesn't care about Valentine, South Dakota. Like he's not somebody who'd be like, oh yeah, she's gonna see Valentine, South Dakota and think that means I put in so much effort and I care so much. That's not remotely what like the current version of him and I talking in any capacity would be like, in my opinion, or at least not what it's been like ever. So I wasn't gonna be like, yeah, like Valentine, South Dakota means you care about me, like, but I also wasn't gonna take it as actually being him, because it doesn't make sense. I was like, you have to understand how fucking stupid you are if you think that I am not only gonna like believe it's him, because it was weird. It was weird. All she knew was that he existed. So I said, oh, really? Like you say you're this person. I didn't say the name, but I said, oh, so you think that you're this person. What state do you live in? What state did I meet you in? Like, do you know any of these things? She like had wrong answers for all of them. I was like, so you don't even know what state you currently live in? You can't answer. What's the weather like where you currently live? Can't answer. I was like, you could have at least like made something up. Like, she could not answer. She could, like, she was texting back, but she was like, I can't tell you. I was like, yeah, but like he wouldn't have a hard time identifying who he was if I was like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what? I was like, it was weird. It was weird. It was crazy. So you just have to know the texting personality of the person you actually know and the other person you actually know. I knew who it was. I knew that it was this girl. I knew it was that girl. I knew it wasn't my twin flame. I knew it wasn't. But she tried to pretend it was, but she couldn't remember his name, and she couldn't understand. She couldn't remember even like what state I had met him in. She couldn't remember like weird stuff to forget. Not even just for pretending to be him, but for wanting your own story to not be difficult. But then I think maybe she realized like I would know it was her if she gave away that she knew any of the information she had to pretend to know. So she wanted me to be assuming that I was speaking to him. I was like, what? Like, this is just a girl I don't even talk to. Like, this is my twin flame. Like, you know what I'm saying? I was like, okay, you were my friend. You're not the person I'm talking to right now. So it was just the weirdest moment. Like, I knew it was her. So you just cannot like believe people. You can't prove who you are. That's a problem. it's so funny because I'm really not a public figure. I'm like, I have 1,000 subscribers, you know what I mean? But like, those were the kinds of reasons and problems I was having with this bitch. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you can't identify who you are anymore, and you can't even tell me like basic information about yourself, and you can't prove that it's yourself, then we are not going to be able to have a conversation regardless of who you are, because somebody tried to apparently murder me over it. I was just so removed from the situation that I never had to see what it would actually be like. But because I was so, removed from the situation, but had I been willing to, I don't know. I also like red flags in the situation, which obviously the whole thing's a red flag. First of all, again, she was texting in like a voice that he would never like respond and answer, and you know what I mean? Like, it didn't make sense. She would refuse to say anything that herself would know and anything that he would know. But she also didn't know what he would know. So there were gaps in the story. She was like, I'm in Florida. I was like, oh, where were you before you came to Florida? She was like, Florida. I was like, what does that mean? Like, really? You don't want to get the story wrong. You don't know what the story is anymore, but you don't want to get the story wrong. It's like, how outdated is the information you're trying to use? But like, let's meet up, I'm in Florida. I'm like, who is this? Like, I was never gonna assume that. I was never gonna expect it to be a particular person. I was never, like, I really don't assume people are any person. Like, the lighting in here is terrible, I just realized. Like, the window is like so open, but like, yeah, whatever, that's fine. Yeah, it was so weird. So weird. And again, because I had all those like psychic downloads, I was like, in my mind, I was like, okay, yeah, so like, just because I had this idea doesn't mean it's true, but I'm definitely not gonna go wherever this person thinks I'm going. This girl, she's so weird, apparently. Never seemed weird around me, but apparently so weird. So weird. Like, this is like a blind spot of like my intuition. Like, I never would have thought this girl would even be harassing me. I think she had like tendencies to harass people, but not to this degree. Not like, oh, that used to be your friend, you know what I mean? Like, I thought she was just kind of like self-defense or whatever, like to herself, like about her, I don't know, you know what I mean, about herself. Like, I didn't think she would be like taking on a persona to like try to come get me, right? Like, what does that even mean? What was the plan, right? So you might be like, well, then what was the plan? What did she want? Like, so she was, first of all, I knew it wasn't, I knew it was her and not my twin flame at this point. That was like the first thing I figured out, but it did take me a long time to figure it out. Not like a long time, but like, not like weeks. It took me like a few hours to figure it out, like several hours, but I didn't think it was him because I was like, he does not text like an old man from a country that doesn't speak English. Like, this is not like, it's not normal. Like, it's not like, oh, like lazy texting or something, or I'm not saying he texts in a lazy way, but I'm saying it's not even that. It's not even that. It's like, doesn't know English. But Valentine, South Dakota, and this is a girl who, you know, the friend who I'm talking about, this girl, right? So she was somebody who cared about synchronicities. She thought that like, oh, all women flirt in this way, or all women like look for secret messages in like the way a man is texting or something. I was like, I think even back then I would be like, oh, I don't think I really read into it that much. Like, these days, I don't know, it's okay. Like, I'm not like gonna panic over whether or not the phone number's area code is this city, because a lot of people can't change those, or they don't want to, or it's like an old one or something. I wasn't gonna be like, oh, it's meant to be because it's Valentine, South Dakota. I was never gonna be worried about that. So immediately I was like, oh yeah, so he wasn't gonna intentionally do that, because it's also not something I would have been receptive to. I wouldn't have noticed. Like, it would have just been one of those dumb things that, like, not to be like offensive to people who care about that, but I would have been like, if Valentine, South Dakota is supposed to be the reason why I was gonna care about somebody, then I guess you missed me. like actually though. Like, I don't think I've never fallen in love with somebody because their area code on their phone is something specific. I've never been willing to meet up with somebody who wouldn't identify who they were because the area code on their phone was something specific. I think you know what I mean by that. Oh, your area code on your phone and you won't identify who you are, that means you're definitely this specific person. I'm gonna say the name of who you are and then go wherever you tell me. That is not me. That is so not me. What is going on? That is so not me. You know? But yeah, so at that point I could tell it was this girl because she was the only one who I guess knew that guy existed, right? But she didn't remember his name. And I was like, well, I know I've used his name before, but like, okay, like, she did not know his name, so like, I guess luckily she didn't remember, or didn't want to identify herself as the only other person other than himself who would have known his name. But like, imagine, imagine if she didn't decide to speak in like, as if she doesn't know the English language. As if she didn't change the area code of her phone and it actually just had a normal area code, and then if she said his name, I'm like, I don't think I would have gone because I think I still would have been like, prove that you're you or something, but like at the same time, that's weird. That's like so extreme to me to try to do it. But also after I had all those like downloads and thoughts of literally herself wanting to kill me, I was like, whoa, why did you show up after I had all those thoughts, like, the same week? Or, like, a week later, 2 weeks later? Like, why did you show up after I had those thoughts? Because I'm supposed to know, even if I think you're you, and you're just playing a joke on me, like, don't show up for this. Because it's not even what you think it is. Like, but also I had, like, no money, so I wasn't gonna, like, go anywhere. I was like, if you think I'm gonna meet you somewhere, I can't even, like, pay for an Uber. Like, I wasn't even going to be able to, but I wasn't going to want to. What? Absolutely not. What? So it was the weirdest thing ever. What else did she do? I'm like forgetting because like most of what she did wasn't important. She was like, I want to like see you, whatever. I knew it wasn't the guy again, but like, so I wasn't gonna do it, but she was like, I want to see you, like, literally pick any place or something. I was like, that's so what the girl would say if she was trying to picture like her own fantasy that she would definitely show up for. So you're probably cursing yourself too because you're trying to imagine like your own personal fantasy of like what you would show up for, not what I would even be receptive to, but like what she. So it kind of makes it like, imagine if I was such a romantic person that I just wanted to go do whatever. Like, imagine if I had 10 million people it could have been. No offense, but like I could have died. Like if I had like an unlimited list of people it could have been, I could have just died. In the most devastatingly stupid way possible. I don't know if anybody's ever died and then had somebody they personally knew stuff their dead body like a piñata with pads and tampons. Why was she trying to make that me? I understand it's like a hate crime and stuff because, oh yeah, that's another thing. She had said she was, like, in over text, she had said she was subscribed to my OnlyFans. That my mom pressured me to do, by the way, because I didn't even really want to. But, like... oh, right. That makes me, like, susceptible and a target for hate crimes, possibly. I forgot about that. Honestly, I forgot about that, because I was so focused on everything else going on in my life that part slipped my mind. My bad. My bad. My bad. Oh, my bad. Right. That thing that could have happened. Anyway, I also already knew it wasn't him, but like, he wasn't subscribed to my OnlyFans. But like, imagine, she doesn't have one. She's never done any form of like sex work. So again, because it's like another woman, it's like a hate crime, you know what I mean? It's like being targeted like for that specifically. So like, good news, I'm so psychic that I not only knew what she wanted to do, but then I couldn't prove it and still didn't try to go. Because imagine if I thought it was supposed to be something like I'm supposed to show up for some reason. Like, imagine if I thought omens and synchronicities mattered, but wasn't psychic. I would have died. Luckily, I'm on the other side of that. What? That's wild. That's crazy. You know how many people would have died on the planet? If you have hoes, you would have died. Like, because you would have thought it was one of them or something, right? If you had multiple people it could have been, you would have died. If you just love showing up for things, you would have died. Like, if you would have wanted to show up to find out who it was because this is funny and weird, you would have died. What? What? Like, I'm so obviously weirded out by it, but like, that girl's so weird then. I mean, not just weird, a killer, I guess. It doesn't even sound real, but like, what? And again, I was talking about, she's like, she had said she's like straight and stuff, so, but then she was subscribed to my OnlyFans, so is it true and it was just like an obsession with me personally and then wanting to plan a hate crime years later? Because that would have been like 2021, 2022 if she was subscribed. When was that, right? So like her obsession with me skyrocketed. Like, it was 2026 when she reached out. It was already 2026. So where did you put your obsession with me for all those years? What happened? I'm so like unsure why you would have done that. Like, obviously, but like, so yeah, even if you're not famous, you could still be susceptible to hate crimes if you even wanted to be a public figure at some point in time. So like, be careful about it. If you're like anonymous text, don't like show up, you know what I mean? That's crazy. What if I were like an adventure type person and I just wanted to go? Like, what? You know what I mean? That's so crazy. That's so extreme though. So yeah, anyway, you want to know what not only solidified it? She was like, yeah, like pick any place. She didn't set like a limit to it, like, oh, it has to be this kind of place, that kind of place, right? She was like, pick any place and like, we'll go there. I was like, no, I don't want to go anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. I don't believe you. I'm not going anywhere. I don't know who you are. You can't even prove who you are. Prove who you are and I'll think about it, maybe. When you can prove who you are and you have like undeniable proof of like who you are, maybe I'll consider it. And she was like, I can't do that. I was like, why? She's like, I can't tell you. I'm like, duh. Like, clearly, like, you can't prove it, exactly. You cannot prove like the kind of person you are or who you are. You actually proved you were somebody else. So I know people might be like, oh, like she was probably just gonna like expect you to show up and not show up or something. That's like the very tame version of what she could have been trying to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, to have so many psychic downloads, and the exact wording was like, she wants to stuff my body like a pinata, my dead body like a pinata, with pads and tampons. I was like, first of all, what the fuck? What did I do to deserve that? What did I do? Like, be so real. Just having an OnlyFans, being somebody you personally met who had an OnlyFans that you subscribed to but didn't say that you did. So I didn't know. And I was never gonna be like, oh, people I'm around shouldn't have been subscribed because of this or that. Like, only because I was like, isn't it like their business? I don't know. I wasn't in the mindset of like safety, I guess. Like, oh, you could be susceptible to like hate crimes from people if you're personally around them and they've been on your OnlyFans. I wasn't gonna think of it like that because I was like, oh, this person's just my friend. You know what I'm saying? Like, it changed the mindset. But yeah, so because 2 weeks after I started having those psychic downloads come to me like throughout the whole day, like every day, and it was about this exact girl and nobody else the whole time, only her, and that was the only cause of death that was mentioned in like the psychic downloads. Like, it literally kept coming to my mind. Like, I was so distracted doing everything because I was like, oh my god, like this girl just wants to like stuff my body with pads and tampons, but like my dead body, you know what I mean? Like, but also any form of that is what the fuck, but like, I think you understand what I mean. Like, I don't know, I'm so desensitized to what that even means, and I think you can tell, but at the same time, I'm obviously not trying to do that. I'm obviously not trying to do that. I'm obviously not trying to do that. Like, even if I'm desensitized to the concept, I'm obviously not trying to do that. By any means, like, I'm not trying to, like, go anywhere, you know what I mean? Like, and then for her, that exact person, And I know she's the only person who would have made it Valentine, South Dakota, because she's the only person I know who believes every woman on the planet cares about romantic omens, and I really don't. But she never would believe that I didn't, because she also believed I was Christina Aguilera, even though I'm not. But she believed Christina Aguilera would have loved Valentine, South Dakota. You know, maybe she would have, I don't know. But I'm still a separate person, so I'm so confused. I'm more and more and more confused. More and more and more confused. She was the only person I was really around who, like, knew I had an OnlyFans because I didn't tell everybody. She also didn't know it was my mom's idea, so I mentioned that in the text, and she was shocked. She was like, oh, I don't even know what to say now. Duh, like, what? Like, what? So then I was like, okay, yeah, so it's that person. Like, it's that girl. Again, how much she knew, but also didn't know about the guy. She knew he existed, which was an outlier, not in my environment, but didn't know where he lived, which meant she and I had disconnected, like, in the transition of, like, before he, like, moved somewhere else. I don't walk around telling people my personal business because I would have died. Just so you know. If I seem like, you know what I mean? I just would have died, apparently. I don't meet up with random people because I would have died, apparently, okay? Okay, you might have to identify who you are, because I could have died, apparently. Oh yeah, so what really solidified it, not only that it was her, but all of it was true. I was like, why do you keep, like, at some point I was like, why do you keep harassing me? Like, why do you keep talking to me? She was like, I just want to see you stuffed. I was like, that's not, like, a sexy way to talk to somebody. But, like, I just want to see you stuffed. And it was, like, in the least sexual context. You know, when you can, like, when you have, like, psychic, like, intuition and, like, vision and stuff in a way, like, it wasn't, like, I can see, like, words and tell if people texted it with, like, a sexual, like, connotation in their mind, because I'm not, like, stupid, but I'm also not gonna, like, misread it, you know what I mean? So, like, I can tell if they were thinking about something sexual when they typed it. She was not thinking about something sexual when she typed it in that context at all. She was thinking about, like, hating me, but making it the least sexual thing possible, but wanting to harm me in some way. And I was like, so you are trying to do what you think would be, like, the least sexy death for me to have, because you didn't like that I had an OnlyFans? That doesn't even seem like the energy that I'm moving towards in any way. I don't see myself, hopefully I'm not gonna have some kind of death, you know what I mean? Like, like, I'm so lost at this point as to why you would have wanted me to have, like, the least sexy death possible. You wanted to be the cause of it, and, like, you wanted to be the reason why, but it was, like, a weird spiritual thing she was going through too. Like, she was talking to me half the time like she thought I was Jesus and needed, like, my consent to tell her if she could do it. And I was like, no, you can't do it. What? What does this mean? Like, I was like, I'm so lost. Like, you know, when there's people who, I guess they were maybe religious or something, but they have, like, that stupid mind where, like, they maybe grasp the concept of, like, well, if a soul doesn't consent to it, it's not gonna happen, but, like, nothing else is, like, resonating for them. Like, they don't understand a single thing. They don't understand anything to the point where they understand the gravity of, like, what they're doing. You know what I mean? But I was like, how did you get to the point where you would have wanted to, like, do, like, a hate crime onto somebody, like, over, like, I mean, that is, what's it called? Like, I do think that having an OnlyFans is kind of a minority, right? Because not everybody has it. Not everybody has one. And you're another woman, so it's like, you know what I mean? It's like that, like, I don't know if she was, like, jealous or just weird or, like, disturbed, right? Spiritual psychosis, but, like, willing to physically do something terrible. It was like that. So I was like, there's no proof, but it was totally that girl. Yeah. So completely different thing, but I think it reminded me of that, and I was like, I know those are completely different concepts and things, but it's weird for both to be in my mind at the same time. That's all for this video, but I think I just wanted to bring those topics up again and have that conversation. But I love you guys. Goodbye.